I don't blame the working class for the ways we have to participate in a fucked up society. I blame the ruling class for that. We did not create this system. Humans before capitalism ate animals.
What's up, everybody? My name is Natalie, and I'm here with Zazie, and today we're going to be talking about bestiality. So what are your general thoughts on it as of right now?
Interesting subject. I did actually have a friend, that's why I was kind of interested in the subject, that would confide to me about it, and I would listen, and from a very non-judgmental place, and if that's what you're into, as long as you're not hurting anybody or whatever you're into.
Well, maybe we can define bestiality. Is it the act? Is it wanting to have sex with an animal, or is it straight up having sex with an animal?
Having sex with an animal.
Okay, then I would say
also, how is it definitely like kind of like penetrative, like normative sex? But I'm saying, like, does it also, because okay, I had a housemate once.
Sex?
What is sex? I had a housemate once that had like a very loving and affectionate large dog. And I had an intimate relationship with the dog. It wasn't sexual, but it was like, I would say, a very deep interspecies intimacy.
Okay.
I was not fucking the dog, though.
It sounds like you're pro-bestiality.
Not quite. I mean, I was really good friends with this person. I really cared about him a lot. Unfortunately, it turns out he's a jerk.
Okay.
But
Maybe there was a warning sign there.
No, for sure. There really was.
Specifically, I'm going to be talking about culture in Colombia, on the northern coast of Colombia. The boys often, when they're around 13, they start having sex with donkeys because it's against their religion to have sex before marriage. So that's how they learn how to have sex with donkeys. So I'm going to try to I have 10 justifications for it. So I'm going to see if any of these are good justifications to have sex with donkeys in your eyes. My first justification is that humans are smarter and more dominant than animals, therefore we can do what we want to them.
Rough. I'm very let's leave animals be. Do the donkeys enjoy it? That's really my main question.
Let's say no, just for the sake of this conversation. They don't enjoy it.
It's not a good thing.
Okay.
Not a good thing. I don't think we should impose our will upon animals if they don't enjoy it.
Are we saying all 12-year-old boys in Colombia are fucking donkeys? Sounds kind of racist to me.
Not all of them, but a large percentage of boys in coastal towns in northern Colombia are having sex with donkeys.
Northern Colombia. What body of water is that bordering?
Does it matter? Does it?
Well, because I'm curious about the region and about culturally what both tribal peoples and what kind of colonization happened in that region, just to know more specifically about who we're talking about.
Because it's cultural and religious, does that make it okay?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
I don't think we can apply the same moral logic to the entire world.
Yeah.
So my instinct, of course, was to be oh yeah, I'm against bestiality because it really just can't be consensual, and I am a person who believes in animal rights, even advocating for animals when they cannot advocate for themselves.
So let's say,
this complicates that, of course. But I feel like I want to challenge the whole sort of premise of the question, and I'm struggling to know how to do that, though.
What if I said they enjoy the feeling of having sex with animals, therefore it's okay because they get sensory pleasure? Does that make it all right?
No, just because the animal is not enjoying it. That's kind of what we discussed. So unless, again, it's gotta there has to be mutual informed consent here.
I think that all kinds of working class poor people are required to be in situations where they have to do harm to animals to keep our economy going, and it's not actually their fault. So we have people talk about say for example ivory from elephants.
Yeah.
Okay, obviously killing elephants for ivory is fucked up and wrong, and we want to end that practice. But it happens to be that, and same with dolphins, right? Hunting dolphins, we in the Western world are no, you can't kill a dolphin. The reality is the people that actually end up doing that are poor, usually, and they're doing it because they are trying to get themselves and their families out of poverty, and that is actually the moral crime.
So would you agree, maybe doing something to animals out of survival would be justified, But if it's not done out of survival, then take a look at
So
it.
you are operating on humans and animals are different. We are animals.
I'm not necessarily saying that. I'm just trying to find like where your morality is surrounding animals. Like, because they want to have sex with donkeys, like, is that okay? Because it's culture. It's not getting them out of poverty. What if I said dolphins rape each other, therefore humans can rape animals if they want?
We're supposed to be smarter.
Animals can't consent to any shit that we do to them, from mass slaughterhouses to whatever. So like, yeah, I don't love it, and I also think that moral relativism is always at play in our world. So that's where I'm at.
It's more convenient to have sex with a donkey than to like find a woman to seduce or get married and have sex with her. Therefore, it's okay.
You should be better in bed.
Well, they're 13. Yeah, so I guess when it comes to moral relativism, I do agree that, morality is at some level subjective, right? But I think for me, that subjectiveness ends when there's a victim. Does that make sense? Like if we said female genital mutilation, that's part of cultures. It always has been. I would still say it's wrong because there's a victim there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's legal and everyone does it. Does that make it okay?
No.
Let's take the boys out of the equation. Let's just say someone here living in the U.S. wanted to have sex with a donkey. Would that be okay if they wanted to? Like, is it their personal choice to do so?
No.
Why not?
Well, because I believe we need to fight for animal rights, and I think that is entwined with what Susie said about consent.
What if the donkeys are bred for that purpose? They wouldn't exist in the first place if people weren't having sex with them. Does that make it okay?
It's got to be consensual. Donkeys got to enjoy it.
Okay. So are you like pro animal rights people?
Absolutely, yeah.
I have a hard time saying that as someone who eats meat, actually.
Oh, I eat meat. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so like, I mean, I want to be like, yeah, like reproductive justice for animals, like, but as someone who not only personally participates in the consumption of their like reproductive labor, by eating their products and their bodies, but also like, is super enmeshed in the capitalistic way that like we have built our food system that exploits animals. So like, it's complicated.
They've been doing it for hundreds of years.
Still got to be consensual.
So the fact that something's been done for a long time doesn't make it morally okay.
No.
I don't blame the working class for the ways we have to participate in a fucked up society. I blame the ruling class for that. We did not create this system. Humans before capitalism ate animals, okay? Animals eat each other. Like, I don't think it's actually wrong inherently to eat animals or to use animals.
I didn't say that either.
I know you didn't.
Right.
I know you didn't.
A couple things there. You're right. We didn't create this system for sure. And one thing, indigenous tribes did like eat animals, but the way that the colonizers came in, they took the land from indigenous people to raise cattle, cowboys and Indians. That's still going on in Brazil with like deforestation. They're tearing down the rainforest, taking indigenous land in order to raise cattle and grow soy to feed to pigs and chickens. Do you think there's a way to take yourself out of this system?
No, we need to abolish this system and replace it with socialism.
Farmers make a living running donkey brothels. They would lose their jobs if people didn't have sex with donkeys.
Get a different job.
What about the system of animal exploitation? Is there a way to remove ourselves from that?
Not without a revolution of the economic system that dictates the system we're talking about that totally like exploits animals.
It's their personal choice.
The donkeys or the people? The people. I mean, again, is your partner has to consent.
Gotcha. Okay.
Animal or human.
Yeah, I guess kind of the way I think about it is maybe we don't have time to wait. Like, do you know anything about, the environmental effects of animal agriculture or the increased risk of pandemics?
Yeah.
Do you think we have time to wait for this revolution? I've never seen any evidence of a revolution, although I have heard people talk about it.
I have something to say to that. So like what I was trying to say earlier, like, there's just like the working class is very like all over the place.
Yeah.
And I don't think our priority should be to sort of like control the diet, say for example, of poor people who are literally just trying to get fed anyhow, trying to feed their families.
So would you say you're against cruel treatment toward animals?
Absolutely.
Most people think of veganism as a diet. For me, I think of it more as like a social justice movement for animals, in the same way that, feminism is for women's rights. As to the poor people point, yeah, I mean, veganism is actually cheaper. There was a study that came out that showed it's 30% cheaper. So it actually is accessible to poor people, but that's why I kind of talk to people about it here, like in New Orleans, where most people do have the means to go vegan if they wanted to. So as to the point about individuals not making a difference, do you think if you did go vegan, would it save any animals?
I don't know. I kind of want to lean towards no.
Do you think animals are treated cruelly in the meat and dairy industries?
Yes, 100%.
Would you say they're tortured?
Probably.
Is it consensual?
No.
I used to feel the same way, so that's why I'm out here. But after doing a lot more research about it, there are people who study this, and they say that every vegan saves somewhere between 30 to 600 animals every year. So if you looked out and you saw, like, let's go on the lower end, like 100 animals, would that be a big difference?
The scale of like animal slaughter is so big, but yeah, I mean, I don't know, 100 beings, like, sure.
But what of everything else though? You know what I'm saying? It's difficult for me to talk about this in a vacuum of, you know what I mean? Like, how many cows can I, as Megan, save? And then, okay, so I saved 100 cows because I was vegan my whole life. So what, right? Like, what, you know what I mean? Like,
do you think that it would matter to the cows?
No, I actually don't think it would matter to the cows.
Really?
No, I don't.
Do you consume meat and dairy?
No.
Really?
I don't. Sometimes. I'm not against people who eat meat. I personally don't eat meat because I've healed a lot without eating meat.
Okay, so are you vegan or?
I like to say plant-based. I'm not, because I'm not really vegan. I'm not really, I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't want us to treat animals mean, but I don't really like get on this whole like stage and say like, we can't eat meat, and I don't know. Vegans kind of have their own thing going on. I support people who eat meat.
We can fight for human rights and animal rights at the same time. Veganism it's essentially a non-action. You don't have to do much to be vegan. You just change what you eat and change products you buy and think about animals with respect. So you could still fight for all other causes, human rights, start revolutions at the same time as being vegan. And if we're talking about human harm in animal agriculture, it's a dumpster fire. I mean, slaughterhouse workers have the highest rates of PTSD, depression. They're put in poor communities where the poor people are forced to work there. Violence goes up, air pollution.
So these things need to be one.
Yes, even though they're treating animals badly without the animals' consent, which you said you were against.
Look, the people at the grocery store are buying this meat. They have no idea usually what happens to them.
They don't have any idea, yeah.
I mean, I would assume that if people saw the way the animals were treated in front of them, I mean, like, at least half of those humans would be like, nah, I'm good, I don't want to buy that, and they would start shopping at better farms. I mean, that's why the organic thing is growing so big.
Yeah. The workers who work in those slaughterhouses, the workers who are basically being exploited and being forced to kill animals or to mistreat animals or to participate in the system in a very direct way. We need to do what we can to support those workers as they organize for better working conditions, but also link this movement, animal rights movement, up with them so that this can happen simultaneously and together.
And that's something that vegans are working on for sure.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when you do look at the victims, yes, people killing them are forced into these jobs, but at the end of the day, the animals are the ones who are chopped up, who are mutilated, who are gassed to death, who are tortured. So they also deserve to be taken into moral consideration, I think. Another thing a lot of people don't realize when they buy these products is that organic doesn't really mean that much. 99% of meat and dairy does come from factory farms, whereas most people believe they're buying small local label can be thrown on anything too. There's not much oversight. So I think it's one of those things that like the industry's kind of put out a lot of propaganda saying that the animals are treated well, that it's okay. In reality, like you said, if you watch it, it's not.
Exactly.
So I think the most strategic way we can actually win some real shit here is by, I'm a Marxist, okay? So like
I got that sense.
Yeah. So the
Just come out and say it.
Fine. Workers of the world unite for animal rights, I think is the slogan we need to, take up. And it's not going to be some kind of clean break from eating animals, right? It's really not going to be that.
No, but I think not eating animal, like showing your respect to animals by leaving them off your plate is a really good starting point, and also probably easier for most people to do than to unite workers, which I do think would be better. I agree with you on that. However, maybe the average person doesn't know how or doesn't have the resources to do that, whereas going vegan is very accessible for everyone.
The world would be such a better place if like we could stop slaughtering all the animals.
Yeah, 100% agree.
And look, I'm telling you, there is like tons of propaganda about how like vegans and plant-based people are like killing their children and like their teeth are terrible and all this, but it's like, do you realize how many people are in dental chairs right now that eat meat and that are dying at the hospital right now? All of them eat meat.
Yeah, like I don't think our power is in the vote. I don't think our power is in the dollar. It's in our we are the people who build this world. We keep it running with our labor. Our labor is heavily exploited. So I'm not saying it's easy. It's not easy to unite the working class. You know what I'm saying? It's not easy at all. There's tons of barriers in our way. The cops will always come down on us. The state will always come down on us. But it is truly the only way, if you actually just straight up look to history, it's the only way that we can really leverage real power against the ruling class.
Individuals coming together.
Collectively, yeah.
Yeah. So would you recommend plant-based diet to anyone watching who hasn't done it yet?
100%. Like, but again, you have to do it right. You can't just like focus on greens. You have to focus on fruits, vegetables, and like so much fruit. Fruit is like it's the sexual expression of the plant.
I do come at it from the animal's perspective also, like because they deserve moral consideration as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right, do y'all have any other questions for me?
Let's go buy some produce.
Yeah.
Sweet. Awesome. Let's cut it here. Yeah. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and become a patron today. If you missed yesterday's video, click to the left.